Hey now. So here we go, Kokomo. So what it is 9 o'clock. Oh my God, 9 o'clock Central here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, the World Nerve Center headquarters of the MagicBrad Show. Where is he, my friend Steve? We're going to talk about the pros and the cons. The pros and the cons. What does cons mean? Controversial, conflicting. I'll have to ask the expert. Where is he? Steve-O, help!
I don't know. The cons, let's see. I don't know. Contributions, I don't know what it would be.
Pro would be productive, maybe, and I don't know what pros and cons means, but everybody knows what it means, but I don't know why.
We'll look that up. I'm not going to do it right now, but
Good things and the bad things.
yeah, right. Yeah, there are some advantages and disadvantages of performing for not-for-profit groups, and that's what we. And I was recently approached again by a group, and so all this came back up in my mind. I'm thinking, okay, so what do I need? What's my position once again? Now I here again, I did agree to do this program. So I'm going to talk about that. So let me just start off with. Do you have anything you want to share at the beginning?
Just that I've got my own opinions of how this stuff.
Share my thoughts here, and then we will converse about it. Now, so my early beginnings was when I was in high school performing magic. I got tied up with the Red Cross. There was a Red Cross group at my school, and I became a member of that. Well, once they found out I was a magician, they latched onto that, and wherever the headquarters was in the area that I was in, was sending me out to all kinds of places to perform my magic for free. But let me tell you, the learning experience I got from that was just unbelievable. Here I'm a teenager, and I'm going to the VA hospital, to a few retirement, but I also went to the handicap. Back in those days, they had institutions where they were putting all the mentally handicapped people. And I was doing shows for them. And let me tell you, it was a great experience. I learned so much from that. But here's the kicker, and that's the thing I want to talk about is when you're doing charity work or not-for-profit, is it coming out of your pocket? In other words, you're donating your time and energy doing the show. But if you have to pay money to get there or to be a part of it, was the Red Cross. They picked me up and they drove me to wherever I wanted to go, wherever they wanted me to go. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing. Now, here's another example about. Let's see. I'm going to guess almost 20 years ago now. I was invited to participate in a big fundraising show in St. Louis by, I believe it was called the Make-A-Wish or the Children's Charity Organization. I can't remember which one it was now. Sure. And they paid for everything. They paid for my flight. They paid for my hotel room. They picked me up in a limousine, and they paid for all my meals. They paid for everything. Everything was paid for except my fee. I wasn't paid for my fee. Now, the other cool thing about it was I was not the only entertainer. It was like a telethon type thing. It was televised in St. Louis. Sure. So the headliners were people like the Temptations, the Four Tops, Lou Rawls, and the Mandrell Sisters. I mean, it was a phenomenal show.
Right.
And I was there with some other variety entertainers for the kids, and it was a great experience. But everything was paid for me. They made me out to be a star, and right. I didn't get paid. I didn't come out with money in my pocket, but I had great experiences and stories and got to meet these people and hang out with these people. Bob Eubanks was there, the host from the what was that TV show called? Newlyweds. Yeah, I got to hang out with him and talk to him about the stories he was telling me. It was such a great experience. And Lou Rawls, he was a real down to earth, nice guy, and so were the guys in the Four Tops. They just were. They were great. You could talk to them and easily, and they treated you as a professional entertainer. So anyway, I had that experience. Now they're not all like that. Sure. Sometimes you go to do a charity thing, and I know I did one for United Way or whatever it was, And I get there at the facility, and they told me I had a stage. Well, the stage was filled with all kinds of clutter. They had not moved anything, and the chairs were not set up. And I'm going, okay, what did I do here? And so now I basically adjust. They set the chairs up for me, but I had to work in the front part of the stage because of all the crap that was on the stage behind me. So, and they, their attitude was not, they were not appreciative. So you pick and choose, people. You pick and choose as to who you're going to work for. Now I got more to say. You have something to share?
Well, the essence of it, I mean, it's just like everything. There's good corporate shows and bad corporate shows, good private parties and bad private parties. So that's going to happen. The essence of the not-for-profit or non-profit is just tax status. It isn't that they don't have the money. It's that it's designated and budgeted a specific way.
Well, I want to talk about that.
Okay, go.
I'm going to tell you, there have been times in the early years when I would go to do a charity show, and I found out later that there were other people getting paid. I wasn't getting paid because I agreed to do it there, but other people were getting paid. So I went, whoa. So I learned a long time ago, if I'm doing a not-for-profit, I ask, is there anybody else that's going to be paid for this event? And let me tell you, there have been times when they said yes. I had one call me a couple of years ago and asked me to donate my time. And I found out later that they did pay other people. And so I turned them down, because they wanted me to do it for free. And I was not particularly interested in this particular not-for-profit. Now I've gotten really picky, of course, in my old age. Here's one of the things I've learned. When you have a not-for-profit organization, go find out what they're doing with their money, because you'd be surprised.
Sure.
The Children's Network, for example, they raise all this money and take all these donations, but you know how much those children get? Very little. Sometimes the not-for-profit organizations only have to give like less than 20% of their profits or with their income to the charity itself.
Yeah, well, sometimes, it's just not designed that way. But there's ways of getting around that if you understand how it works. Because when someone first gets into it, you get the phone call. Hi there, we're doing this event. We got a very small budget. It's really for a good cause. We're saving puppies. And they start strumming the heartstrings and they say, would you be so kind as to donate your services for this event? And then they get you that way. But there's another way of flipping it on it, because there are things they pay for. When you go to those things and you see these elaborate ice carvings and the decor and the music and the food, somebody's spending some money somewhere.
Right.
So if you understand that and you say something like, I will do my performance for 100% free, and I've got these books that I made, and I would be willing to, give you a very discounted price on that book, and you can stuff them in all the gift bags to everybody. So if you'll just get 5,000 of those little books.
That's right.
So there's ways of doing it as long as we're in the tax.
Well, that's something else I want to talk about. I had an organization call me and they said, yeah, we can give you a tax write-off form for your show. And I said, no. I found out a long time ago, the IRS quit doing that many years ago. You cannot write off a show or any time or services that you give, but you can write off the little booklets that you're talking about. Any supplies that you donate, goods, that can be written off. So
as long as you know how this stuff is working, because when I get this big giant book that's got all the different, it's called the Book of Lists here in the Twin Cities, and sometimes they do the top 50 nonprofits, and they're judged by how much money they're raising. And you look up the executive director and find out that they're making $250 million a year. You know that somebody's making some money.
Right. That's right.
As long as you know how that works. I went to one, I actually did a performance. I donated my time, and then I got the dinner and stuff, and that was all wonderful. And then they had this silent auction, and people were buying, a baseball bat signed by Harmon Killebrew for $56,000. There's money moving there. You just got to work it.
And sometimes you can get a sponsor if you have an organization that doesn't have a budget. You can find someone to sponsor you. They'll be willing to donate their money to give to you to do the program.
You should do more of that. Put the logo on the back of your tuxedo.
And you know what? I would ask them. I've done this before, and I'd say, "Do you want me to advertise your sponsorship?" And they go, "No, that's our way of giving to the community." And other times all I do is I want to thank the sponsors, like the shows I'm doing now for the retirement centers. I'm being paid by the insurance company to do them, and all I do is just mention them and introduce the insurance agent, who gets up and gives a brief talk. And he or she is only allowed to talk for just a brief moment. They cannot really pitch their services. They can only talk about who they are and what they're.
It's just really more of an acknowledgement that yes, I'm here.
Right. Yeah. But it's working. They're willing to pay me, my price, which is above what a nursing home would give me. So what I'm trying to say is there are pros and cons about doing these charity type shows. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. When I lived in Indiana. That's where I grew up. And in 2000, I moved here to Florida. And I love living here in Florida. But up in Indiana, I was constantly, every holiday season, doing a few charity shows for groups that needed, a show for children, underprivileged children, or whatever. I came down here. They don't do that down here in Florida. I don't know why. I can't. I've offered my services. Finally, I got one of the hospitals to allow me to participate in one program. And the next year, they said, "Well, we're not doing it this year." I go, "Oh, really?" Because I put on my calendar, it was willing to do another free show. And they said the reason why, they couldn't get enough volunteers. Oh, my.
I can see that. And part of that comes into, like, you talk about the pros and the cons. There's some pros to, okay, I'm going to donate my time, but I want to get introduced to these celebrities. I want to get pictures taken with these celebrities.
Yeah.
You can say that I want these favors done, and that could be very valuable, getting your picture taken with some Hollywood celebrity or something. That could be worth your fee right there.
Yeah, silly me. I didn't do it. I didn't do that. I don't think that way.
We had the conversation. I did a thing with Bob Newhart, and we just had a conversation behind the stage. No big deal, but it's just a conversation. And hang
on, I gotta close this.
So I was with Bob Newhart, and I told him a joke, and he thought it was funny. And he asked, "Would you be okay if I told that on the stage?" And I said, "Go ahead."
Yeah.
So Bob Newhart used my joke.
Yeah.
I don't know what the joke was. I can't remember, but it goes a ways. I also did a show once where Dr. Ruth, remember Doc Ruth Westheimer? So I used to say in my promo, "Vanished coins in the hands of Dr. Ruth."
Yeah.
So you can say things when you go to these, because these things are highfalutin kind of things. So there's a pro with it. You can posture yourself right. A con with it is you're not going to get the big paycheck like you're going to at a trade show.
Right. Yeah. You can get a lot of exposure by doing. I know a couple of guys magicians who are doing nothing but exposure or type charity shows, and they figured out ways to get compensated for it, so they do make up for it.
Here's another thing. Do you know the name Jay Owinghouse?
Oh yeah.
Out on the West Coast, he had a thing where it was I'll take a little time because this is very slick the way he had this worked out. Is he had a telemarketing business, so when it was off season, he was doing telemarketing for nonprofits and things like that. But he had a little call center, and he hired the college kids to do the calling. So he's employing people. Mm-hmm. And then he did his shows. He did them in high school gymnasiums where you got the basketball court, which is a constant. The dimensions of it is a constant. And he had a big canvas thing that was already blocked out with all of his illusions. So he just laid the canvas out to protect the floor, and it was already set up. And then they would call around. It's for the DARE program. The kids would call hey, would you support the DARE program and get a ticket to the show? And a lot of people would just buy the ticket to support DARE. They wouldn't even show up to the show, but they would put the money in there.
Yes, I've had that happen.
So there's ways of doing that using the nonprofit or not-for-profit status, and you strum the heartstrings, and we're going to try and save the world and save the whales and all that kind of stuff.
No, I've done that fundraising type show too, where they said, "Yeah, we sold 1,000 tickets," and you get there's only 50 people in the audience Because you're right, they just bought the tickets as a charitable donation.
And that's why some of these people buy that baseball bat signed by Harmon Killebrew. They don't really want it. They just want to buy it and let everybody know that I just dropped $250,000 on a baseball bat.
Now you do have to. Here's nothing you have to be careful about. I had a charity, not-for-profit organization tell me, "We'll advertise you. We'll put your name on your logo and all that stuff," and they didn't do it. And it wasn't because they didn't do it intentionally. It's just that everybody, most of the people were volunteers, and it didn't get passed on. They didn't follow through with it. So
Right.
It wasn't really anybody's fault as much as it was the person who was going to agree.
That is another thing too. That I got a friend here that does a lot of that kind of stuff, and her job was to just make the party really, really nice. It just had to look and feel good. It was more about the balloons and the garland and all that stuff, and the good dinners and the ice carvings and all that.
Oh yeah,
it's just a dog and pony show. I gotta get a dog and a pony. Hey, we got a comment here. What the heck is this? Who is it? Oh, there we go. It's a mysterious person, a Facebook user.
That's right.
Yes. Well, somebody's listening. That's good.
Yeah, yeah. I remember hearing about him. Yeah, up there from.
He did a show up here in Anoka, North Minneapolis, years and years ago. He did that.
Yeah, he had a big illusion show.
Mm-hmm. There is a way to do it. You just got to understand.
I want to mention my cup here.
Oh, there you go.
Wasn't this beautiful?
That is beautiful.
Of Steve Hart, and it's got there's a QR code to my website. Guess who gave me that?
Let me see if I can scan that code. Just for
you think you can?
You got to go up a little bit. Let me see if it goes.
Let me get a position here.
It's got to go up a little higher.
All right, there we go.
It's shiny.
Will that work? Yeah, the reflection of the light. Here, let me see if I can block the light.
There it goes. Oh, open.
It did open?
It almost did. I didn't tap it on time, but yeah, it would work.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you, Mr. Brad, MagicBrad, for sending this to me. This is a gift to you.
Absolutely. I've got mine too from the same company, only it looks different.
Yeah.
Mine says best marketing legend ever.
There you go. So be it.
It's documented here that I am the best marketing legend ever.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to say I'm going to make another video as a follow-up to the marketing series of videos I did for marketing for senior audiences. And the reason why is because I have recently found some new interesting stuff for our members of our group here who are interested in pursuing getting more shows. So I've decided I'm going to make that. One of the things is is your list building and of your contacts, and then the other aspect of it is going to be what was it? I forgot what it was now. I just have one of those brain things. I just lost it.
Memory retention.
It'll all come to me when I make the video because I'll write it down. I have to make notes nowadays. Used to I could just talk right off. No, let me just say this. When I first started off doing motivational programs, I was using 4x5 cards, with the notes on them. I think about that now and go, well, that was so embarrassing. But that's how I knew the message. And it took me years to get to the point where it was all just coming out of me. And so now for many years, that's what I've done. Now, recently, I sometimes forget. So
do you ever use an ear prompter?
What's that?
You ever use an ear prompter?
No, I've never used an ear prompter.
I used to do that. It would work pretty good.
Yeah, and I have hearing aids, so I can just like just a second ago, the phone rang. You didn't hear it, but I was hearing the phone ring and somebody trying to call me, and so yeah, I've had the Bluetooth, but I don't have anybody talking to me, but those things work, That's
well, cool. We've gone for 20 minutes here. That's pretty good. And someone else made a comment. It looks like the same Facebook user, perhaps. Mark Tripp has lots of phone room experience as well. Wonder how that whole industry is doing the telemarketing thing now that people just don't answer the freaking phones. I guess they don't care because they're just getting paid by the hour.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of stories about the boiler room, phone room, both good and bad. And it's not that, it's not something I discourage. It's just, it depends on how you run your business, and what you decide you want to do. So,
Yes, sir. Okay, mister. Well, I think I'm kind of done. Are you got anything else you want to throw in?
nope.
That's it. Just that people should tune in and learn more about what we got going on here.
No,
right?
I keep posting stuff. Another thing is the group on Facebook for activity directors. I just posted something last week about some of the things they're experiencing. Let me tell you, it's really opening my eyes to help understand the type of work they do and the environment they work within. So it's educational for we who come in and perform our programs for them. So I encourage our members to join that group and listen to what they're having to share with it for us. So
for those that don't know, that's how you get a hold of Steve.
Yeah, right.
Right there.
Yep.
Okay, buddy. I'm putting you in the room for some digital hors d'oeuvres. We'll talk to you.
I have it written down what we're going to talk about, but I can't remember now. We'll pop it up.
We'll get it next week.
All right.
Okay. Well, there you go. We did it. Dun, 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 dun. So that's what we talked about today was this right there. Pros and cons of performing for not-for-profit groups. I understand that not-for-profit and non-profit is actually two different things. And I don't know what it is, a couple little bullets here and there, but that's the way this all works. And by the way, a little shout out for myself. This is what's happening. That's happening up here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. This is a trade show that I've been producing since 1991. It's called the Event Expo, and I showcase event planners, showcase event suppliers, caterers, balloon decorators, entertainers, limousine services, audiovisual, all that stuff, the casinos and the rental stuff, entertainers, speakers, and all that kind of thing. So if you're in Minneapolis, stop by in March. That's it. That's all I got to say. So peace, love, and happiness. Enjoy the rest of your day. Be good, be kind, be nice. Did I say be nice? Be nice.